Hello, hello. Aloha. So, right now we will keep on studying the, what is it called?
Do some object-oriented programming. We know back and
Right, let me go to the chat. Right, we are connected. We are good. Good. So, now let's move on to the next lesson, which is join. I'm assuming it's a function that works with like .map, and it's going to be .join.
JavaScript method for creating strings from arrays. So what exactly does the .join method do? Well, you call it on an array and it concatenates the elements of that array into a string. It lets you choose how those elements are separated within the string, and then it returns the new string it has created. So let's jump straight over to the editor and see the .join method in action. Up here, I've got an array called CSS classes array, and it is holding a bunch of CSS classes that we could use in an array. Now we want those CSS classes as a string, so let's see how easy it is to achieve that with the .join method. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to declare a new const, and I'm going to call it CSS classes, and I'm going to set that equals to the original array up here that we're going to be working on, and I'm going to call the .join method, and because it's a method, I will give it its brackets. Now,
Method. It's a method.
straight away by logging out this new const. And if I hit save and open up the console, you'll see that we have got a list of the CSS classes just like we've got here, but now it is a string, and we can prove that. Let's take a moment to look at the .join method, which is a JavaScript method for creating strings.
String from array.
So what exactly?
Right. So map is going to be for iterating over arrays. Okay.
Iterating over arrays. I want to introduce you to the .map method. Mapping over arrays is a core front.
We have to rewatch this so that we understand.
You'll see how much quicker and cleaner it is than relying on for loops. So what does the .map method do? Let's take a real-world example from right here at Scrimba. This array is a price list for our products, and these three numbers represent our monthly, 6-monthly, and annual pro membership fees in US dollar cents. And we're using cents because actually it's really common for databases to hold monetary value in their smallest units. And by the way, this is a real-world example, but it's not real-world data. So if you're paying more or less than this, don't stress. Now, we can't show our students prices in cents. That would look ridiculous. So before we render anything on our website, we need to take these values and convert them to dollars. It is the string containing map method to call that function on each element in our price list cents array. So it starts by applying our function to the very first element in the array, and then it takes the value that function returns, our string, with the amount in dollars and the $sign, and it places it in the first element of a new array. When that's done, it moves on to the second element in the original array, and it does the same thing, and this time it saves the value as the second element in this new array. It then moves on and repeats the process as the original array, and the original array is still intact. We haven't mutated it or changed it in any way. Now just note that this new array here is an array of strings. That's just because we've concatenated this $sign. If we'd just been working with numbers, the function would have written it different. It needs through the array to make our lives. I'm actually the original array, energy cost euros, and I'm going to use the map method. So let's see how the .map method can make our lives
right? So we don't have to declare that to be an empty array, because it's going to be a the result is going to be, because dot map will output a result in an array, so you don't have to establish that is an empty array. So for here, like if you basically run a loop through cost euro, right? For loop increment by 1, then energy cost dollar push, we push in the energy output, energy cost in euros, and then the what is it called, the index numbers, so 140 time exchange rate, which is 1.13. Then we push it into this array, which is like, it's broken down into smaller steps. It's easier to understand, but at this moment we are on our way to be an advanced JavaScript coders, so we don't use this broken down steps. Instead, what we can do is, according to what I remember, it's going to be energy cost in dollars. We const that, const equal energy, so we map out the energy cost in euros, and then we do this, and if I'm not wrong, we do a function, call this cost euro, and then we do this. In this function, this is just a parameters inside a function called inside a function, and this function is going to perform this thingy. So we want to energy cost in euros, time it with exchange rate, and then we want to return the result of this back into energy cost dollars. So now if we run console log, now is equal to, let's console log energy cost dollars. Energy cost cannot access energy cost dollars. Oh, no. So what do we do? Oh, we take this cost euros, right? So we do the parameters. Since we mapped it function out, so we use the parameters. This function is basically map out this, so we take the array here and then we map it out, and this function going to our parameters. This parameter is really needed.
Call the .map method on the end here, and because it's a method, it needs its brackets or parentheses if you prefer the longer word. Now here inside these brackets, we're going to pass map the function that it's going to call on each element in the array in turn. And we can build that function right here as an anonymous inline function. So
Anonymous.
declare that function with the function keyword and give it its brackets. Now the function that we pass to map receives a parameter, and this is really important. The parameter is not optional. This parameter represents the element.
It's not optional, so it's needed.
The array that is currently being worked on. Now it's the parameter parameter is not optional. This parameter represents the element in the array.
Okay, so this parameters basically represent. Okay, I see.
Now it takes good convention to give it a name that makes it clear that it represents one item of items.
Okay, makes sense. So I has to note this. Parameter is needed. Parameter is needed in a function in dot map method. Okay, that's good to know. Now I remember. I was confusing at first, but now it's getting clearer and clearer. Like when you don't understand anything, just chew it back, or like we skip through it and then we go back later. It might be easier for understand. Or like you go back at the other time where you like have a clear minded, where you have a clear mind, and then you just read it back, listening to it back, and then it might be helping you to understand it better. So dot join method is basically output out a from turning an array to a string.
And it concatenates the elements of that array into a string. It lets you choose how those elements are separated within the string, and then it returns the string it has created. So let's jump straight over to the editor and see the .join method in action. Up here, I've got an array called CSS classes array, and it is holding a bunch of CSS classes that we can use in an app. Now we want those CSS classes as a string, so let's see how easy it is to achieve that with the .join method. To come down here,
Yes, basically you don't have to pre-declare it as an empty array or empty string, because it's going to be the output of .join is going to be a string, so you don't have to do that. With a for loop, you have to do that. Yep. It's actually a lot neater than for loops. It's basically performing as like a for loop, but I'm assuming it is shorter to write, which means it is better to write it, right?
and I'm going to set that equals to the original array up here that we're going to be working with. I'm going to call the .join method, and because it's a method, I will give it let's just see what the .join method gives us straight away by logging out this new const. And if I hit save and open up the console, you'll see that we have got a list of the CSS classes just like we've got here, but now it is a string, and we can prove that just by using type of in here, and that confirms we have indeed got a string. What you'll also notice is that the different
It's all concatenated, and now it has a commas in between. It's set up like it's not crumbled like together. It is not like that. There's a commas between them. This commas not supposed to be like
separated with commas. We don't want those commas to be there, and luckily the .join method gives us a great way of deciding how we want the different elements to be separated. All we need to do is pass in a separator, and we put the separator between inverted commas. The default separator is the comma that we see at the moment, but imagine we want to change that comma to a dot. Well, we just put a dot between the inverted commas, hit save, and now down in the console you can see that the different elements from the original array are now
So it has a default of commas, but then we can remove it or do something with it by open quotation mark, and then you put in something else like a dot or something like that, or you could have put it empty or a space. I'm not sure if a space would work, but let's continue.
By dots. And in fact, it's very flexible as to what we can use as a separator. Imagine you wanted to use a dog emoji. Well, that would work. I have no idea why that would ever be a good idea, but it would work. Perhaps more importantly for CSS classes, we could just leave a space. No comma, no dot, just a space. And we do that by enclosing a space in the inverted commas.
Alright, so okay.
Now we see something more useful, at least for CSS classes. They are just individually spaced out. Now, sometimes we don't want any separator. We just want whatever is in the array to be joined together in one continuous stream, and we can do that by passing the .join method and empty string. So we have the inverted commas still, but not.
Guys, tonight we are not going to study, but instead we are going to try to code our portfolio from scratch. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for that for tonight. From 8 to 10 or 11, I will code my portfolio from scratch. So now we will continue with the video. Right.
Let's hit save now, and all of those CSS classes are joined together. That's completely useless for this particular case, but I think we're going to use something like that really very soon. Let me just close this console. I'm going to delete all of the code we've got on this page at the moment and set you a challenge. You probably remember from the previous scrim that we ended up with this birthday guest list that we successfully rendered using the map method, but that we had these strange commas getting in the way. Your challenge is this. I want you to use what you've just learned to get rid of these commas. Pause now, give this some thought, give it your best shot.
So let's run it back. Do we have to, can we put @join here too? Try that. Run. Now that join doesn't work. This cannot be there. So what we can do here is equal to .join. And then here, oops, is going to be here, and then nothing, right? Run this. Unexpected token. Right, now it's good. It's good, it's good. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Tom, Mary, Claire, John, Liz. Right. Now, dot map is basically a for loops, which is confusing. Sometimes it's confusing, but a dot map is actually a shorter way of writing a for loops, and then you can add a function next to it with a parameters, and it would be nice. It would be way shorter than writing for loops, for and then let I equal 0, something like that, I less than length something, then I increment by 1, which is a really long way of writing it. But now when you have dot map, it's going to be doing the same stuff, it's just shorter way, just doing the for loop in a shorter way, which is good, better than for loops. But at the beginning we just used for loops. Now we are more advanced, we move on to dot map. Alright, swap out for loops for maps. Now it's the real test. It's a real test. Let's see how we can do this. We are making a role-playing games, which is really nice.
So back in our outline, you can probably guess what I want you to do. I want you to map over dice roll array and save the new array to dice HTML. Remember to deal with any commas that appear and think about which keyword to use when you declare dice HTML. Pause now and give that a go, and I'll see you back here in just a moment.
Right, so let's clear this out and let's see. Since we want dice HTML, here we declared as an empty string, so I'm assuming we will use what is it, what did we just look? Join. Right, we switch for loops to be a map. So instead of map over dice roll array, so we const dice HTML is equal to, what do we do here? We are going to do dice roll. Is it a loop here? Yes, it is. So, oh no, it's an array here. So that we do map. Map is sexy function. We pass it into call a value. So this parameter is going to be 314. So it is really needed in a map method. It's a need. It's not a oh, you can do it or not. It's a need. So you need it in order for this map to run. This function within map to run. So map is going to iterate through this array 314. So now what we do is we do dice HTML. I'm assuming we do this. It's going to remember is equal dice HTML is equal to, try this, cannot access dice HTML what before initialization. Interesting. How do we do this? Cons element. This is basically what is it called? We refactors the object, right? Now cons dice HTML.diceRow.map, going to iterate through this. We don't do this. We don't do dice row. Instead, we do dice HTML document element by ID. How do we do this? I'm assuming dice HTML it's not going to be here. Const dice HTML. We do a let's here. Let dice equal dice row dot map, then let dice, and then dice HTML. Remember to deal with what comes between dice. Right, instead of the for loops, going to go through dice row. Right, so good. It's good. So this line is correct. The next one, and remember the new array to dice HTML. Remember to deal with the commas between. So do we do this? What do we do here? Dice element ID So wants to not in the so let's display this dice HTML. Now dice pro, I'm assuming we has to, and then we do values. According to what I can see, I'm assuming it's going to be value because it's going to be printed out into values, right? Still not that. Still not it. Still not it. Dice HTML. Let's dice HTML equal to string element by ID is going to print out this thingy, print this in, and then dice. Oh, here, right here. Since we have to call this function dice containers, where's this dice containers? The health, and then dice containers. This is going to be values. Try this. Cannot access dice HTML before initialization. Before initialization. We changed the for loops, right? What keyword should be used to declare dice HTML? Oh boy. This is a for loops, right? And then what do we want inside for loops? I'm going to do put dice and then dice containers. Let's try this and then put this back. Let's see which one is the dice containers. Class dice roll HTML plus equal. Oh, wait. Actually, so this is a dice roll 6. Dice roll 6. Which one is the dice containers? I'm assuming this is dice containers. Try this. Let's and then it is supposed to remember. It's not like that. So wait. This first we do console log. So we solve this small problem. HTML. Right. Cannot access values. Cannot access dice HTML before initialization. Cannot access dice HTML initialization. Oh, we print out values. My apology. Value is not defined. Dice roll dot map. It's going to in here. Dice HTML dice count 1, dice count 3. Well, that's weird. That's weird. Dice roll dot map. Why value is not? Do I have to change the non-name? We call it dice value. I think it is a not a good name. Dice. That's why it's not running. Return dice values. Hey, I have a new name now. Control S. Value is not defined. What? Let's watch for some hint. Why is it not working?
I'm actually updating it on every loop. Our new array is going to be a constant. That means it's going to be created and then pull map and open up the bracket.
Oh, I think I know why. It's going to return. Wait, it's still not. It still doesn't make sense. Here we do this, and then we do this. Try it. Dice roll.I. Got here dice values. Right. Why value is not? Oh, here. Dice values. Dice value is not defined. Great. We're supposed to dice HTML. Hey. Yes. Yes, guys. Yes. Freaking yes. Now we return. What do we have to do? Return this, and then the other function is, should we do a const here? Yeah, const is better, right? And then const guys, HTML is not going to work now, right? This cannot be changed if it's a const. So what we can do here is basically dot join, open. Can we do this? Oh, so fuck. Dice values. Where did we put this? Where should we put this? That's HTML. Where do we put this? Mother Russia. This is dice values. So dice value cannot be dice value dot join. Can we do this? Dice values equal dice value dot join. Can do that. Dice value. Let's, and then it cannot be. Yep. Let's try this. So we don't have this. We don't need that. Run. Dice value is not. Oi oi oi. What did I click? Oh, we have to do it on the dice HTML. Okay la. We do let. So that's going to change. Yep. Dice HTML equal dice html.join. What a fucking come. And then we do this. And then dice HTML. Let's see. Let's go. We just figured out, which is really nice. Hey, JavaScript make me excited, guys. Not CSS. CSS is not, how can I say it? Interactive. Despite trying to make the website interactive. JavaScript, way better.
Can look really confusing at first, but with practice, they become second nature.
Right? It's become second nature now, guys. So good, so good.
So I'm going to start by changing this let to a const. When we were using this for loop, we had to declare dice HTML with a let because the for loop was actually updating it on every loop. Our new array is going to be a constant. That means it's going to be created and then...
So this map function, it's going to replace this for loops. It's going to create a function. You can include a inline function to it, which make it actually easier to read. And you can do, I'm assuming, basically the same stuff, but you don't have to be writing all of this. Would I say it's a good function? What good method? I don't know, because we are so used to writing this even in other languages, right? So let's continue.
It's going to take a nothing and it just needs to match the situation. In the body of the function, we want to return our string of HTML, and then we just need to swap out everything inside these braces for num. Now, if I delete this for loop, let's hit save and see where we're at. And as you can see, it has worked. We have got 1 4 and we've got 6 4, but we've only done half the job because we've still got these commas. What do we need to do about that? Well, we can chain a join on the end here, so that's going to come
Oh,
the end bracket.
we actually can do that.
And join on an empty string. Save again, and there we are. We've got rid of the commas and everything is looking perfect.
Yeah, so I think this is needed because we want this dice HTML to be a const. It cannot be changed. So when you roll something, you cannot be changed, right? It would be a scam with like you roll something and then like you can change it to like, oh, I rolled 3, but the computer printed out 6. It's not going to be good. So if we keep join here, we are not going to have to deal with this. Like right after here, like my code is a line longer, and not as like it's bad. Yeah, it's worse than the instructors, but like it's still pretty good, right? But the stuff that make it bad is that now you can change the dice HTML, which is not a good thing to do because you don't want to roll something out and then you change it. Not good, guys.
Right, that's a really good point. Take a bit of time to go back over that map if you need to. Make sure you really understand it. And now is a really good time to take a break and then come back to the next scrim when you're feeling good. See you there.
We actually do a lot of refractors in our code at this moment. Like there's a lot of refractors. It's basically just to not repeating ourselves. And in our code,
About generating some random numbers for our dice. So let's do that next. I've set up a challenge for you here. I want you to create a function called getDiceRollArray that uses a for loop to return an array of random numbers between 1 and 6. So each element in the array will represent one dice. That's of course why the numbers are between 1 and 6. Now, the function should have dice count as a parameter, and the array it returns should be dice count length. So eventually, the wizard
create a function that call getDiceRollArray. Let's use a for loop to return an array of random numbers. Oh, random int, no, random float, random floor, random. Right, we will rewatch that, and then we is zoom my screen. Okay, let me try it. Is it better now? Can you see it better? Just let me know. Let me know.
Now, if you're a bit rusty on getting random numbers with JavaScript, I'm in a generous mood and I've given you a few pointers in this hint.md file up here. Never say I don't give you anything. Now, I'm asking you to do this using a for loop, and you might be saying, hey, you just said for loops were old school and we just learned to use the .map method. Why don't we just map over the dice roll array, for example? Well, yeah, it has the correct length, so that would work, but dice roll is just a temporary property with some placeholder.
Hey, no problem, no problem.
Soon, we're going to be deleting it, and dice count will be the only indicator that we have for how many dice each character has, and therefore that needs to dictate how long our array should be. Now, you might have guessed that the for loop you're about to write doesn't have a very healthy future, and you're right, we'll definitely be swapping it out for something better soon. And I know it's a bit frustrating, but I really want you to see the different ways of improving on the for loop. So don't be mad at me, and I promise you there will be opportunities to practice the .map method coming up. Okay, so pause now, give this challenge.
Right, so we need to create a function called getDiceRollArray that uses a for loop to return an array of random numbers between 1 to 6. Let's do that first. Where could it be? Yeah, we let's do it here so that we don't have to go down, go up. Oops, I think we zoom in a little too much. Let's do this. 125 looks good. Right, we call it function. Function. Yep, function. And then what is this going to be? This, right? This word, bad boy. Bad boy's in. Should we put a parameter into it? Probably not. This is